The transaction and redevelopment of the property took considerable safety planning and consideration for a number of reasons. The most important of which is we have active utilities running through the properties to be sold. So there were a number of easements that needed to be created. And what we established with Frontier collectively was a demolition permit program which required safe isolation of mechanical and electrical utilities throughout the property prior to any demolition activities involved to occur. The reason for that is twofold. Number one, first and foremost, to keep all employees involved safe. Secondly, it's obviously important to preserve our ongoing operations here at ArcelorMittal. So we needed to plan accordingly in order to preserve our active utilities such as natural gas, high voltage, hydrogen, water, and other utilities.
Just on the utility separation, for example, it's an extensive process where you're trying to identify utilities that have been in service for 100 years through our blast furnaces and through our old hot end and through our BOP. There's been takeoffs of those utilities run different directions, so we physically had to trace out each and every one to find out where they what the extent was, if there were taps or other conduits off of those, fiber optic, gas, electric, all our copper, and all the other utilities that come from to service the rest of the mill, to make sure that the mill stayed viable, that we didn't interrupt any of the operations here at the plant.
As far as the rail aspect, it really wasn't that difficult, but working with Terry and Matt and the rest of the MU group, the utility separation, which we have a permit system, was probably the most complex. We would walk through it, make sure, get written verification, make up maps for it, and review it with Frontier, and then everybody would sign off.
Asset harvesting was a process that began prior to the transaction, whereas ArcelorMittal USA identified a number of assets that would help to be used at not only ArcelorMittal Weirton, but at other USA facilities. A prime example of one of the most valuable assets are the charging cranes in the BOP. As we speak, the BOP charging cranes are being harvested in a project being managed by Burns Harbor with ArcelorMittal Weirton's help for use ultimately at Burns Harbor as steel producing charging cranes.
Within this project, where it's been a real team effort, you know, there is a segment of it dealing with scrap shipments. We've come to agreement with Frontier Services so they can sell their scrap to ArcelorMittal, and it's a real benefit to both companies.
The redevelopment of this property affords a huge opportunity to the community of Weirton. We found a suitable purchaser with a proven track record of redevelopment, as evidenced with some of the projects across the river to redevelop property and actually in part to continue steelmaking across the valley. It offers an opportunity for the community to be diversified in the number of and types of businesses that are brought in. And obviously that's good for the community and the tax base.